Alright, hello everybody, it's me, Millo. I just wanted to do a quick little rant because today, somewhere around this morning, I get a notification from Reddit. Of course, me being a little bit of a Redditor, I look at it and I get the message saying that, as this upcoming February of 2026, not 2026, 2027, sorry, Pokémon Bank will shut down and essentially just disconnect all the previous Pokemon games from like GBA to DS to 3DS. They will all be gone and essentially just shut down any form of transferring any Pokemon that we all had from those games to the new ones. And for some people, they don't mind it. For new players that are like on the Switch, I don't think they're affected. But like for old players or players who want to go back to the old games and bring their Pokemon that they hunted, shiny, regular, or even Ribbon Masters, I'm going to get to that in a minute, from those games, they can no longer be usable, they can no longer be transferred to the new ones once that end date hits. And also, just like, some people might just say, well, why don't you just use PKX to, take that Pokemon file and just put it in your save. The thing is, though, you have to transfer your Pokemon from home, from like bank to home, and then they get a tracker. If they don't have those trackers, they are like automatically flagged as illegitimate, and that might get you in trouble. And let me get this out of the way. Again, I love Pokemon. I love the creature collecting game, of course. I love the shinies. I love how they do stuff sometimes, but most of the time, and also recently, I feel like they've been very much lacking in quality, and I feel like this kind of takes the cake. I understand they're trying to make extra money because they're going to re-release every old original games. We already got Fire Red, Leaf Green. They're gonna do Auras, not Auras, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald afterwards, and then on therefore. But again, it just destroys just the replayability of especially the mechanics that they had for the old games. Because if you had a DS and you had Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and onwards, you could transfer your Pokemon from the old games to the new one, and it was such a beautiful feature to have, because you could essentially, the journey would never end for you with your Pokemon, because you could always bring them to the new gens, to the new regions, and explore that. But now, just with this shutdown, it's going to be, unfortunately, not a recreation, but almost a remaster of how Game Freak originally did Pokemon when it came to just all. Sorry, oh my god, I'm losing my thoughts here. Let me just say this more straight. It's essentially how they kind of did it beforehand in the first place, when they had Pokemon Red, Blue, and then Gold and Silver and Crystal. They could all transfer each other from the new gens. Some Pokemon that didn't exist in the old first gen, they couldn't, because they didn't exist at the time. But then come GBA, you can't even transfer your Pokemon from there. And it's only until I want to say this past year, if not this year, people have found a way to actually bring those Pokemon from the Game Boy cartridges to Game Boy Advance. Yes, technically it might be not the correct way, or whatever, some schmuck might say, oh no, that's actually cheating. You can't, it's not possible for your Pokemon from Red to be transferred to Fire Red. I'm like, I mean, do whatever you want, but I feel like it's everyone's fun in their own way, and I love that. I want people to have fun in their own way. And I get it, for some people, they want to spend countless hours. I know I was one of them when I was so into shiny hunting. I'd spend so much time just shiny hunt for one specific Pokemon, but I'm older now. I don't have as much time as I'd want, or not even that. I just want to do other stuff, and sometimes I'll take an easy way out, or not even that. Just it's a lot more faster to do, especially in the newer gens, or find exploits in the old games, like with Sun and Moon, the time travel method. Technically, that's how I got my shiny Decidueye and shiny Hisuian Decidueye, and that's where it leads to my next conversation of just especially shiny hunting for old specific Pokemon, technically for Colosseum. That's gonna be a real hard to do, because now people who want to shiny hunt for shadow Pokemon in those games, they now have a set timer on how long they have to get them because shiny hunting takes so much time, especially in the old games. Like the odds were 1 in 8,106, 68 or something around there, and that's even if you manage to get in those like in under odds. So most people, if not like most people, they go over odds, and that takes a while. And again, it's just RNG is such a cruel mistress. But I was going off topic a little bit on that, but especially I feel like the bigger problem is also going to be for people who want to ribbon master their Pokemon. For those of you who don't know, ribbon mastering is essentially you have your one Pokemon that you love, all that, and you essentially try to get all the ribbons that you can on it that it's allowed to have. So it's just like, let's say for because I got this mainly from Sir Toasty Toast, his Caesar. His Caesar is from Pokemon Coliseum, and it's a shadow Pokemon, so it has like the national ribbon, which is a very rare ribbon to get, because not all Pokemon can have that. So even that right there, if like when this closes down, that's going to be really hard, if not impossible, to transfer over, because technically you can still get it, but once we're past that date, you cannot transfer that Pokemon to the new gens. And that's just so devastating, just because, again, imagine like someone who doesn't know what's going on, and all of a sudden they're calling to, like, let's say Ultra Sun and Moon, the last game before they have to transfer the Pokemon to Pokemon Bank, and they're like, I got this shiny, shadow, purified shadow, Typhlosion, and not Typhlosion, but Cyndaquil, let's say. And I got all the ribbons, I got all the like whatever marks I can get on it, or not even 4 marks, but just like the past ribbons, because there's so many ribbons to get, especially during Platinum or Diamond Pearl Platinum. And a little bit of I want to say the 3DS games, give or take. I know, especially for Gen 3, there's a lot more, because especially with the contest ribbons. But fuck, I'm kind of running out of it. But again, just like some, unfortunately, once that date hits, and then if you're not paying attention, you try to, send them over, and then you get hit with the service for this is stopped. You're out of luck. We can't do anything else for you. And that's just so heartbreaking, because now, again, this is almost 20 years. This is pretty much 20 years later. We can no longer bring Pokemon that we had from old games to the new games. And it's just like, well, this sucks. And again, I'm not trying to be like, oh, why are they doing this? I know why they're doing this, because they're going to re-release the new games to, make profit, because we all know, like, secondhand market, they're not making any money when it comes to, like, me, buying Pokemon Emerald on eBay, or like getting Heart Gold on, at like the local fair. They're not getting any of that exchange, and they're like, okay, we need to stop this because we want that money. And I get it, they're a business at the end of the day, but god dang, it sucks, and I get it. It is what it is, but I'm like, I still want to voice my opinion. Sorry, I kind of got lost in that thought for a sec. Not thought, but stutter, as I am currently right now. And then, I'm looking at the Sir Toasty Toes Pokemon Ribbon Masters server, and I'm like, hold on, let me bring it up real quick, because I did get the message for what's going on. So allow me a moment. So this is from Serene Chaos. If you guys are not in the server and you want to do your Pokemon like ribbon stuff, join the server. Just go to Sir Toasty Toes channel, and just like, he has a link for it, I hope. If not, I will post a link in the description of this video, because I feel like everyone who wants to do this, or not even that, just like support, just like trying to find a way to bring your Pokemon from the old games to the new ones still, even after the shutdown, I highly encourage it. But this is that. So Pokemon Bank is closing February 2027. Let's see here. Oh yeah, they've called it Doomsday, February 26th. Oh shoot. The Pokemon Bank shutdown and what this means for you and Ribbons. It was recently announced that Pokemon Bank will be shutting down as of February 26, 2027. If you still have any Pokemon in the Game Boy Advance, GameCube, DS, or 3DS, and you still want them to go through the entire Ribbon journey, that is now your hard deadline to get them finished with everything up through Alola. Because again, Sun and Moon is the last game to go before they make to home. Then deposited into Bank and safely transferred up to home. Pokemon that haven't made that jump into the lifeboat will then be stuck in one of a few quarantined ecosystems. Pal Park and Poke Transfer don't involve Bank at all, and will continue to function just fine after the shutdown, so you can still move Pokemon from Gens 3 to 4 to 5 but the journey will come to a stop there, excluding the restricted legendaries that are banned from battle facilities. These Pokemon will have a maximum ribbon count of 66 to be earned in Gen 5, of course, but you still have your Pokemon play or movies or musicals that will then become its permanent retirement home. Pokemon caught in Gen 6 will be stuck solely within that generation. There are 24 available ribbons there, but in a change from previous practice, getting all these ribbons will require 2 separate 3DS consoles to do a local trade between X and Y and Auras. You will no longer be able to deposit from X and Y into Bank and take it out into Auras on the same system. So even then, because it was more easier to just do it like that, but now you need like 2 systems. Pokemon caught in Gen 7 will also be stuck in a 1-generation ecosystem. There are only 7 ribbons to get, or 5 for restricted legendaries, but at least you have the Alola Photo Club to decorate a memorial picture after you're done. And then Pokemon in Virtual Console Game Boy games will have to stay there, unable to get any ribbons. So even there, just like, you can't even transfer Pokemon from the Virtual Console, from like, you know, the red, blue, green, yellow. Those Pokemon will forever be stuck in those games, and that's just terrible. I say terrible, terrible, terrible. And, you know, as much as I would love to say, you know, Pokemon, you know, get it together, they are getting it together. They realized, oh, we can make so much more with the new consoles. And that sucks. But as for us, the people, you know, we need to do something for each other. We cannot, I feel like personally, we cannot be relying on, you know, the big Pokeball to do something. And fortunately, people have been doing that. Again, as I mentioned before, just, you know, I want to say this past year, people have found a way to bring Pokemon from the Game Boy games to Game Boy Advance, and you could still transfer that to the new gens, and that's so amazing. Just like the love that people have for this. I'll be honest, much more than what Pokemon has been doing recently, especially with this. And I get it, they were gonna do this eventually, but it sucks that it was like, I don't know how long it's been since like the eShop like shut down, because technically even then when eShop shut down, if you did not get Pokemon Bank before then, you would have to modify your console to get Pokemon Bank and Poké Transporter to even like be able to transfer your Pokemon to the new gens, and that's what sucks. Alright, allow me to continue. Pokemon as far back as 2002 releases of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire have been official pathways to travel to the newest titles in the Pokemon franchise. Being able to make new memories with your Pokemon in each new game has been a truly unique gaming experience unlike any other. Remember, I mentioned this earlier too. Pokemon are more than just bits of code. Your first Pokemon, the Pokemon caught with a loved one, Pokemon that helped you win an important battle, Pokemon that you spent years searching for, each one holds a special place in your heart that is hard to explain. Pokemon has announced that February 25th, portal between 3DS and Switch, Pokemon Bank will shut down after that date, and it will become impossible to officially bring your Pokemon home. It is tragic, heartbreaking, the end of an era, but however, the Pokemon rescue team is refusing to go out quietly. We have rescued Pokemon around the world, hundreds of Pokemon have been brought home through our efforts, but there are still thousands of Pokemon traders in need of help. If you have a special Pokemon that you need help rescuing, we are going to bring it home. We aren't just going to rescue some, we are going to rescue them all. And that right there, that is some fucking love right there. God damn. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for, you know, cussing, but I gotta say, that's some love right there for the series. When the people themselves are saying, we gotta take this into our own hands, we gotta stick up for each other, that is beautiful. That is so beautiful. But let me continue. Though we won't be able to do it alone, we need the help of the community. Pokemon Rescue is expanding to a global volunteer task force. If you have what it takes, we are ready for you to come aboard. And they have submission forms, they have application forms. If you want to feel part of the community and you want to put your effort into this, there's a legit Google application form. There's 2 forms. There's a submission form to having your Pokemon rescued, and there's another one to actually volunteering for the Pokemon Rescue team. And then let me see this. Okay. And then this is the message, you know, for people who are in the server. If you are seeing this part of the announcement, it means you are a part of the Pokemon Ribbons community. You know, and again, you know, everyone else is, you know, for some people, at least the person who's posting this, you know, it's tough to just take it all to one person because, you know, they have their own lives to live, and that's understandable. And again, that's why I say, like, we the people must come together. It is said in the book of Genesect that we are the people must come together and understand, for we do not understand the concept of love. I know that sounds cheesy, maybe a little silly, but in the book of Genesect, that is what it says. And if you, and again, just, you know, no Pokemon left behind, legit. That is the last text that I'm reading before I see to the next message. Okay, so based on the next message on the announcements, they're just they're clarifying what you would do should you want to, you know, volunteer to be a rescuer. So they will be pairing volunteers from around the world with people who have Pokemon that need to be transferred to Pokemon Home, bring them home. So applying to be a volunteer will mean that if someone near you needs help moving Pokemon, you will be paired with them to help preserve their cherished memories. And I'm gonna, you know, save these pictures. I'm probably gonna show them in here. But like, that's such cool like effort that like it's more than just, you know, oh, like we just have a whole bunch of consoles. They have legit cases, and they're making this so like unique. Just almost, to me it feels like almost like Pokemon professors taking initiative into like, oh, we're gonna, you know, we have the high tech and all that. And I love that. They even have certificates of Pokemon being rescued. That's beautiful. And that's like, yeah, I was like, hold on, I need to look. Pokemon Rescue. Let it be known that this Dusclops, rightfully named Dusty-Gist, has been brought home at the Pokemon World Championships, Milwaukee. Oh shit, the home city. I didn't know that. Rescue number 028. Date of rescue October 12, 2025. Origin game Ruby. Trainer number 21600. Again, this is so cool. And again, sorry, I keep saying again and again and again, but it's so beautiful to see the amount of love that people have for this and to help each other like get through this. Because again, this sucks to like essentially be told your fun is going to end here and you cannot do anything about it. And that's just for normal people. And I feel like we need to spread the word to like more of the people who are in the know. And I feel like we need to tell them, hey, if you have Pokemon that need to be saved, you know, join this, you know, we can find someone to help you with, like, just let us know and we will try our best to help you. Because again, I want everyone's Pokemon to go through this, to make it to the next journey. Because again, we got Winds and Waves coming, I want to say next year, and I want people to bring their Pokemon from Gen 3, hell, even Gen 1, and they do that method where they transfer from Gen 1 to 3 or Gen 2 to 3 and do the whole journey. I want your Pokemon from the journeys from wherever they've come from to make it to the new generation, to experience the fun with you. Because that's what Pokemon is. It's always about the journey, not the destination of the end. It was always having so much fun with your team, seeing where you can go, see how far you can get. And I feel like that's what we need. We need more of this. I think that's really pretty much it. That's all I've had to really say. It's a little late over here. It's like 11:39. I just got back from watching Spider-Man again. But yeah. Now I'm just rambling for the next like minute. But I still say support it. If you want to be a part of something bigger, I feel like join this server because it's fair. We're gonna need it. People are going to need it. But as for me personally, you know, because I know I've been trying to do the ribbon journey, the ribbon mastery, sorry, too. So technically, I have a few Pokemon that are still in the old games. I have a shiny Blaziken that I'm trying to get ribbon master. Same with the Charizard. Same with pretty much all the starters, or at least some of the starters in the old gen games. I have a shiny Makuhita, shiny Shadow Makuhita that I don't really care for getting ribbon master, but I want specifically I want a shiny Shadow Quilava, a Flaffy, so I can evolve it to Ampharos, and then some other Pokemon from the Coliseum NXT games to ribbon master them. So for me, I have a lot more on my plate to do, so I gotta figure that part out. Who knows, maybe I might make a video. Hell, I'd be surprised if I live streamed it. But yeah, the only ones that I've made it out, like a few, are my shiny Hisuian Decidueye Archazia, and I think my Samurott? I'm not sure, I have to check. But I will show some pictures of like those Pokemon too. Or I'm probably not, because it's pretty late, to be honest. We'll see how I feel in the morning. But I think until then, I will see you on the next video. I know I've been very lackluster with the Pokemon stuff. I keep reminding myself, oh, I should, but I never do. I literally record everything else other than Pokemon, and I gotta do that mainly for myself, because again, I love Pokemon. I love, you know, at least most of the games. You know, recently they've been very much dropping the ball, but again, I still have love for the creatures. I still have love for the other mechanics. I still have love for the people who do stuff like this outside of the norm, and I think that's really much it. I think, yeah. And you know what? Let me just, I guess, clarify like a little bit. I think for those who say like, oh, well, this is not like actually official, you know, you're not doing the right way. You can spend 1,000 hours doing the right way, but if Pokemon can just easily just click a button and say, this is gonna stop, then I think, again, it's up to us to take it into our own matters, and I'm okay with that. And I feel like you gotta be okay with that. But then again, that's your opinion, and I'm just saying mine out here. And until then, I will be on my way. Hopefully, I will stick to what I say and do Pokemon stuff again. Love y'all.